What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 8 of the After Effect podcast. I'm your host, LeBron Stephan, and we have a very special guest who we'll be interviewing today. We got former Hawkeye basketball player Devon Archie. Just sent him the invite for him to jump in. So, right now, just waiting, and here he is right here. Hey, what's up, bro? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. What's going on, man?
Man, how you doing, bro? Good seeing you.
You too. I've been all right. How you been?
Man, I can't complain. Can't complain. I appreciate you jumping on the podcast for me. I know you're a busy man.
Oh no, you good, man. Hawks help each other out.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. So I started this podcast. It's called the After Effect Podcast, essentially to give people like us, former athletes, a voice to talk about, our athletic journey, our upbringing, our transition from high school to college, transition from
Yep.
college to the pros, and obviously, more importantly, the transition out of your respective sport. You got to figure out what you're passionate about, and how you want to give back and things like that. So that's the ethos of the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So if you're cool with it, we could just jump right into it.
Yep, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, man. So I did some research and I saw you grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana. So if you could, man, just tell us what the culture was like in Indianapolis, just as far as sports, basketball is concerned.
Yeah, Indiana, man. So being from Indiana, Indianapolis, it's a basketball state.
Okay.
Home for basketball. So it was one point we had 21 kids just from Indianapolis alone in the NBA.
Wow. Wow.
So that is here. It's huge.
Okay. Okay. Next question. So I saw that. Did you only play 2 years of high school basketball?
Yep. So I didn't start playing organized ball until I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
6 foot my sophomore year. I came back the next summer. I was 6'6".
Wow. So you had that crazy growth spurt. I figured you had some type of growth spurt or something.
Oh man, it was crazy. So I was like, you know what? I might as well try it again.
Okay.
I made the team. So
And like, how was your like development from going from 6 feet to 6'6"? Did you like was your knees hurting? Was your back messed up, or was it kind of like an easy transition?
no, it was actually it was actually painful, man. 'Cause when you grow that fast, I knew my knees were aching bad, but because I grew so fast, I had shin splints.
Okay,
That was something I always had to deal with, was my legs hurting or aching of some
okay,
sort. Quick growth.
okay, I got you. And so then once you got that tall, but you ultimately ended up being 6'9". So when did you grow the other 3 inches? Like during high school or something like that?
Nah, so I left high school at 6'7".
Okay.
In JUCO for 2 years. I grew 2 inches while I was in junior college. So I went
Oh,
from
so
6'9".
you grew 2 inches after 18.
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy. I'm 6'7" to 6'9". So just talk about your high school career, different things you accomplished there, and then the transition from high school to JUCO. Because I know most guys go straight into like a 4-year program. So
Yep.
just talk about that transition from high school to JUCO, some similarities, some differences.
Man, so for me, what it was learning the game of basketball. I had always been around it. I played outside, but when you play organized ball, when it's structured like that, you got to
Mhm.
figure out where you fit in and what things you need to work on. So
Right.
in high school, I was trying to fill myself out because as a junior, I was on JV, but playing against varsity every day, and we had some real talented guys. I continued to develop and
Just kept
develop.
working. Yeah.
And then by my senior year, I ended up on varsity, played varsity, continued to grow and develop, started to figure out my role. My body developed. My body developed. I developed late as far as
Mhm.
so I didn't start dunking until the end of my junior year. And then once I
Okay.
started dunking, my confidence went through the roof. My game changed, and that kind of
Right.
I could add that piece to the so.
Yeah. That was my next question. So was that like a Debbie Downer or like a confidence? Did your confidence go down being as you were on JV as a junior, but like so tall and guys like wondering like why this dude not on varsity or something like that?
Not really, man, because a lot of guys here, like my class, we had a lot of height. A lot of guys was 6'9", 6'10". Even we had Greg Oden, he was a 7-footer. So it was a lot of sides in my conference. And so I
Yeah.
understood that I needed some things to work on. So me, I took it in as a student of the game. I just sat back and watched varsity.
Okay.
Like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how I got to get there. And
Okay. Okay. And then that transition from your junior to your senior year, you, like you said, your confidence kind of went through the roof. You finally start to realize your role within the game, how to play, post moves, stuff like that?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'll say my senior year is when I really started to develop a little more. I had a real good coach in high school my senior year who really
Okay.
built that confidence. So that helped me out a lot. So throughout that season, I continued to grow, and I didn't have any scholarship offers. So I was like, man, I'm 6'7",
Mm-hmm.
no scholarship offers.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up playing AAU ball that year.
Okay. And like the spring after your senior basketball season, you play AU. Oh wow.
Yep,
Okay.
after this season. Yep, I ended up playing with Spees for one tournament. My guy Brian Davis was a coach down at Vincennes. He saw me, gave me an offer right on the spot. So I ended up going there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my next question. I'll talk about what was the differences from high school and then, going that junior college route. Because I hear a lot of some guys that I know that play junior college in football, they always say it's like a less glamorous life and like the campus isn't as put together as like a 4-year university and things like that. So what was those transitions like going from high school to junior college and being in that program for 2 years?
So Vincennes is more of an upscale community college, man. It's a
Okay.
nice campus. They were real professional how they did things. So um, it wasn't bad. That JUCO life isn't for everybody though, man. If you're not level headed and you ain't disciplined,
Okay.
you really not gonna thrive in JUCO because you really got to be critical of yourself and put that time in
Yeah.
your own if you want to.
Yeah. You got to be focused on improvement like every day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So talk about going into your second year junior college because I'm not specifically sure about the process in which like when you start hearing from four-year universities like Big Five universities. So talk about that second year when you started to get interest or maybe hear from schools, things like that.
So actually, my freshman year, I started hearing. I had a
Okay.
coach, Sullivan. He played at Louisville. He was my coach my first year, and he just stayed on me, got me in the gym, and we had a team. Everybody on my team that year who was a sophomore ended up playing high major basketball.
Wow. That's
Developing
dope.
that was huge because I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, I can play. I'm competing with these guys every day,
Hmm.
so that kind of gave me more confidence going to
Right.
my year. So.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. What options did you have before choosing the University of Iowa? Did you have any other Big Ten offers? Did you not want to? You were an Indiana guy. Did Indiana not offer you? I know they was like they had a big basketball program. So like, what options did you have before you chose
So
Iowa?
man, I had quite a few coaches in. I had Oklahoma State, Purdue was interested for a while,
Okay.
Georgia Tech. I wanted to visit Kentucky.
Oh
Uh,
wow. Okay.
so I mean, it was quite a few.
Yeah.
Um, that freshman year, the sophomore year, more and more interest came. Uh, Wichita State, Clemson. So I had quite a few people starting to jump on board
Okay.
to see my potential.
Okay. So what was the deciding factor with you choosing the University of Iowa?
Well, it was two things, man. My grandmother was she was living here in Indy still at the time. She didn't leave the house much, so I was like, well, I want her to see me play college ball. She had never seen me play,
Right.
so the factors, and then Coach Licklider, he's an Indiana guy, and so I knew that he would have my best interest
Hmm.
if I.
Okay. Right. That
So
makes
that
sense.
combination of having the Big Ten network, playing with Coach Licklider, and then growing up in the Midwest, which is Big Ten,
Exactly.
everything was just like this is it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was kind of the same thing for me. I'm from Ohio, so yeah, like
Yep,
you
yep,
say, just growing up a Midwest kid, and like you say, Big Ten country. You always that's a dream to play in the Big Ten. So, and I'm sure the University of Iowa, it was 8 hours from Cleveland, so it was probably like what, like 5 or 6 from where you are, so it's a little
yep.
closer. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So was that when you played against Ohio State for you? Was that a dream come true?
Man, definitely.
I was like
Like
playing the horseshoe.
man, yeah, we played Ohio State in 2009 in the Horseshoe. Man, I had about 40 family members there because I'm literally from like 90 minutes away. Cleveland's like 90
Yep.
minutes from Columbus. So I had like 40 family members there, man. That was like a huge thing. And we end up it was basically the Big Ten championship. We ended up losing by a field goal in overtime, but then we played them again in Iowa City in 2010.
Yep.
And it was the same score. We lost again, but in overtime. We always played Ohio State, the toughest out of the Big Ten. So yeah, bro, that was definitely like a dream come true. That would be my next question. You transitioning to Big Ten basketball. Obviously, we know that that's way different than JC basketball. And then
Absolutely.
you playing all these Big Ten teams. You know, your Michigan State, your Ohio State, but more importantly, you being an Indiana guy, the University of Indiana. So just talk about going from playing whoever you playing in JC to 8 o'clock ESPN, Michigan State, Indiana, Ohio State, ABC games. I mean, just talk about the difference, like that transition, because I know it wasn't easy.
I wasn't, man. So my first year, I broke my collarbone, so I didn't get to play. So I actually got to travel with the team and watch and take it all in.
Okay.
Went from playing in front of maybe a couple hundred people, maybe 1,000 on some nights to 15,000, 16,000.
Right.
You do is criticize.
Right.
From every detail, how you move, how you attack, how you pass. So it was a lot.
Right.
You know, I wasn't ready for it at first.
Okay.
I'm getting used to.
Okay.
But once I got settled, which is, I would say, my junior year, I started to feel it out. My senior year, I was a lot more settled, and I understood what I need to do. So,
okay. And to talk about your recovery process for the collarbone injury, did you just did you just have to like sit around for what, like a month or two until you got cleared to start like training again, or like what was the process for that?
no, it was actually a 5-month process.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was 5 months. Okay.
Yeah, so I had to sit out basically the first couple months. I mean, I just sat there in a sling. Really, you just have to let it heal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I slowly started doing physical therapy on it, trying to get that scar tissue out of there, get my mobility back in that arm.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So talk about I saw you got the injury, and your journey is crazy because you on junior varsity your junior year, then you end up becoming a player senior year, then you go to junior college, you kill there, you get all this college interest, then you finally get to Iowa, then you have a hardship, you got an injury, you break your collarbone, then you finally get back on the court and you start to have success. I think I said you started like 13 to 15 games, something like that, your senior year. So just talk about, and I saw you had some success. So just talk about that journey, like getting all the way to your senior year and finally starting and finally, having some success. Like what did that feel like?
Man, it was a relief because my first year there, a lot of people don't know this, man. I had so my first year there, I had 3 deaths in the family. I broke my collarbone. I caught flu and pneumonia, so I lost like 15 pounds.
Uh,
And looked like I got fired. So man, mentally I was just like, man,
all
I
over the
think,
place. Yeah.
yeah. And so from there, my junior year was kind of my fill out year, first time playing. And then that summer I was like, you know what, man, I stayed, let me grind. So I worked my butt off that summer
Mm-hmm.
where I could get in that spot to where I started.
Right.
Only thing, I just could never stay healthy enough.
Right. Okay. Just like little nicks and bruises, just like with the knees and the ankles, or what?
Yeah, my knees. So I ended up having 2 knee surgeries while I was there as well.
Okay.
Um, and it just continued to bother me. My knee
Mm-hmm.
just to nag and bother me on top of the shin splint. So when you're dealing with injuries like that constantly and it's constantly nagging, you can't play the way you want to. You start
Exactly. Right.
to lose a little confidence. And then
Right.
you like, man, all right, well, I gotta accept what it is.
Right. Yeah. That's what I tell people all the time. I mean, I remember before my senior year, I didn't start any games to my senior year. I was Adrian Claiborne's backup, who All American first round pick. So
Yep.
I basically worked my butt off for 4 years in the weight room to try to get my body together and get my strength together to be the senior starter in the Big Ten and have a great senior year. And then 4 months before the game opener, probably like May, we were doing like our last spring power lifts, like basically maxing out.
Yep.
So I think I had like 395 on the bar benching. I can't believe I used to be this strong, man. And so I'm maxing out. I'm actually killing it. I'm literally on rep like 7. Like they stop you at 10. If you get to 10, they stop
Yep.
you. I'm literally on rep 7. Get the bar halfway off my chest, man, and I feel like a damn rip, like in my pec. Like I could feel the tendon ripping off the bone. So the bar dropping my stomach. 8 people got to run over there because there's so much weight to get it off me just so I can slide up under it.
Yep.
Got the MRI, found out I had a torn pectoral muscle and a torn labrum. So I ended up having to get surgery 4 months before my senior year. So I missed the whole summer workouts and training because I was rehabbing. And then I make it back for the first game to start, but obviously I'm not the same because I missed training camp. My conditioning is different. I'm not strong. So it take me literally like 6 games, half the season to get my stuff back, get my skills back, get my strength back, And so like you said, man, it's a relief to finally start as a senior, but like those injuries, bro, like you like you can't even you know what you're capable of, but you can't show it. You can't show it to the world, you
Exactly.
can't show it to the fans because it's your body. You inside your body, you're limited to only a certain amount of things you can do.
It is, man. It is. And I tell people that all the time, man. And I tell like even my students now that I coach, my players, because I coach 17-year-olds going to their senior year, take care of your body, stretch,
Yeah.
listen to your body, man. If it's aching or something's wrong, take care of it because what's gonna happen, it's gonna linger and linger, and then it's eventually gonna, go
Right.
out. Something's gonna mess
Exactly.
up. So
Exactly. Man, that's so true. So talk about after your senior year. I'm not sure where you were at, like as far as injuries, but did you have any pro opportunities? Did you want to play pro, maybe overseas or just anything like that? Talk about that.
yeah. So after my senior year, I had another knee surgery. So that was my
Okay.
last knee surgery. So they ended up drilling into my microfracture,
Okay.
which is a little longer. So I moved back to Iowa City to do some rehab. And then I moved back home to do some therapy. And I had looks. People was reaching out to me about playing abroad and possibly trying to play in the States.
Okay.
But I just knew I wasn't ready. So I took that year off,
Mm.
reached to an agent I knew. He got me over in Switzerland. He was like,
Oh.
man, let's play.
Okay.
Let's get your confidence going, get your touch and stuff back. If you perform well, then we can try to get you back over here and work something out. I'm like, all
Okay.
right. I get over there. I was playing for about a month. My knee started acting up again.
So you in Switzerland, you
Yep.
playing, body feeling solid after you took that year off, then the knee start acting up again. Wow.
Yeah, because that was honestly for me, that was the best basketball I think I've played yet. Because I mean, I was so confident over there because as an American, they want you to be the guy. So I had the ultimate green light.
Mm.
And mentally, when you have the green light, you do what you want. You
Yeah,
comfortable.
you were saying essentially.
Yep, you're not thinking about mistakes. You're not thinking about nothing. So I'm over there playing, averaging a double, and then my leg go out. So it's like, you know what?
Mm.
Point, I'm like, I'm tired of surgeries. I'm tired of going.
Yeah.
Let's-
So did
I'll
you
let it go.
rehab there in Switzerland, or you just said, let me just go take it back to the crib and rehab here and kind of just figure it out? Figure out if
No,
I still even want to play.
no, I came back home, man. I came back home. I had a good doctor here, so I came back home with them, and they said it would be a process. They said it would nag me throughout my career if I wanted to keep playing.
Mm.
But you know what, man? Just the feeling of doing it over and over again, I was just over it.
Yeah. And that's the thing, especially with them injuries and knees and ankles. Like you said, it's the same thing over and over. You got to keep fighting, but you get to a point where it's like, man, is this really worth it? Yeah. So I definitely feel you, man. So talk about. See, I still remember my day, man, because I played 2 years of arena football professionally, and
Yep.
I tried out for several NFL teams, but just never, for whatever reason, never got my foot in that door. Never put on that helmet. So talk about like the day you decided, like, okay, I'm done with basketball. Like I'm done, and I'm about to transition into whatever I want to do next, whether that's coaching, training players. Talk about when you psychologically put it in your head, like, okay, it's over.
Well, so when I came back, man, I kind of took some time off because I was kind of depressed. I'm like, man, I done worked my butt off,
All right.
and it didn't work out. So I came and took some time off. Started doing open gyms again here in Indy. Trying to get a feel for it, see how my body felt, and it wasn't feeling right. My knee kept swelling, things working out. So I had to sit down and think. And I remember talking to my grandma about it, and I'm just like, I want to keep playing this. I want to pursue it, but it's probably time me to take a different route. Work with other kids and help them figure out. And I can use my experience to help others out. And so
Right.
that's how I end up in this field I'm in now.
Right. And was that an easy pill for you to swallow, or was it kind of hard since you had been, this is what you had kind of loved and kind of had wanted to do for so long?
It's tough, man, because you got to think I'm 6'9", so like everywhere I go, people ask me who you play for, who you play for.
Right. I yeah.
You can't get away from it.
Exactly.
So that eats you up. She's like, man, I wish I was playing. Then I see my teammates abroad playing, making money, six figures. So you gotta take all that in. You keep thinking maybe I should try, but then it's like your body's like, nah, it's not gonna work out.
Yeah, man, and I can attest to that because I get those same kind of vibes, especially at the University of Iowa. I got so many teammates that made it
Yeah.
to the league. First, second, third round picks.
Y'all
Pro
team is
Bowl.
deep.
Yeah. Pro Bowl players. I still got homies now that's still in the league. Super Bowl champions. I mean, it's just the list goes on and on. So that when you gotta accept, like, okay, like I think I'm done. Like I know I'm 25, 26, 27. My body ain't what it used to be when I was 22. It could be a hard thing to take in, or it takes some time for you to accept it, figure out what you want to do next.
Like I said, that's the hardest part, man, accepting it, man, because you see your guys and you get around them and you see their careers and you're just like, man, that should have been me. That should have been.
Exactly.
And I think that's what eats you up the most. But I think come to terms with it, like, man, things happen the way they do for a reason.
Always.
I think that's what kind of gives you that peace a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely gives you the peace. For me, it took a little while. Like, I mean, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew when I was done playing, I had to lose weight. I used to play at like 260, 265 just to play in the Big Ten. That's like, okay, now I'm a guy. Like, so I don't need to be this big. I knew I had to lose weight, and and it was just a process. But yeah, man, that's definitely, I feel like, the way in which you heal and just move on to the next. It's like basically the next chapter of your life. Basically reinvent yourself and you move on to the next chapter.
It is, man. Like I said, it's a transition. It's tough. You go from that sports world to living that lifestyle to, like you said, being a normal person and having to figure things out. It's tough.
Exactly. And you a lot of times I find myself in the last couple of years and it comes randomly, just that it's like you missed the game. Like, and it comes randomly, like, damn, I missed ball. And I go back, watch some little highlights, or and they always got our old games playing on like the Big Ten network. So I'm always watching games. Like, I remember that 2009, 2008. So
yeah, no, that's definitely how it is, man. Because for a minute, when I was going through that phase where I had to stop, I didn't even want to watch basketball. I couldn't watch Big Ten.
Yeah,
I couldn't watch the NBA or nothing because I was so sick about it. But I got to the point to, like I said, I made my peace, and I would go back and look at my highlight tape, or I'll go back and I'll watch the whole game, and I'll be like, okay.
Right. Same here, man. So talk about what you do now. You told me you were coach and you train players. So just give us some details on what you're doing now.
Yeah, so right now, man, I work for EG10. So it's Eric Gordon's program here in Indianapolis.
Okay.
So I work alongside his dad with E3 Academy.
Okay.
Train players. I coach some of the top high school kids in the state right now too. So
nice.
It's been nice, man. It's been a blessing.
Yeah. And you so when you're doing that, do you feel like you're kind of like paying it forward, essentially giving out free games, some of the things that you experienced or whatever mistakes or mishaps that you went through, you kind of telling them, hey, don't do this, do that, don't take this route, take this route?
Absolutely, because for me, I think the biggest thing is, man, kids get so caught up on the name and the big high major colleges. And then what I try to explain to them is like, man, I understand you want to go there, but however, you want a career that is going to last and where you fit in and where you get to play and you can come in and you can play as a you don't got to wait till your junior, senior year before you start getting quality minutes.
Exactly. And that's dope that those kids have someone to tell them that, because like you said, they get caught up in the name. And one question I got for you, talk about like the differences, because you said you coaching, some of the top basketball players in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
Talk about the differences from how it is now from how it is when we was coming out. Because back then we didn't have social media, we didn't have all these different like YouTube videos. They making all these, especially for basketball players, they making the dope highlights with the dope music, and they making these kids look like they ballers at like 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. And we didn't even have really no social media like when we was coming up. So talk about those kind of differences and what you see now.
It's crazy. They got this platform because what it is, man. Like I remember our highlights tape was VHSs. You know what I mean?
We didn't have it was no internet. It was no
out.
YouTube. Yeah, it was no internet. It was no YouTube. You had to mail your VHS out and hope they get it. Call them and see if they got it. Like,
and even then, like growing up in Indiana, so when I was younger, man, like unless you was like a top 40 player, maybe we didn't have that many AAU teams. So if you played an AAU team here, you was one of the best in the state.
Right.
And so now everybody got an AAU team, so all these guys can play somewhere. You can pay to get in tournaments now, except when you get like the Adidas Skyline or EYBL Peach Jam. Okay. That's when the real top guys come into play. Okay. But now, man, the opportunity is crazy for kids to get seen with all these live stuff.
So yeah, you feel like with the YouTube and all the social media now, It's easier for kids to get seen. Like they have a better opportunity, better chance, better platform.
Absolutely. My biggest thing with these kids now, though, man, is that they don't work as hard as I think our generation did.
I hear that all the time. I say the same thing. It's like
They don't.
I had interviewed a couple of days ago. I interviewed one of my good buddies, Ted Ginn Jr. He's like a 14-year NFL
Yep.
veteran. He's been in the league 14 years. And I asked him the same question. What did he think the differences was with the social media with this generation for football, basketball, as opposed to when we was coming out? And he said the same thing. The younger kids, they think it's easy and they don't have that work ethic that we did because it's almost watered down in a sense because
Real
you see
watered
all
down.
these kids on the YouTube and the Instagram and they got the videos and they look like they do this, they do that. But when it's time to really condition and put the work in to get better, like you say, the work ethic ain't there.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the thing, man. Like I said, man, I was just talking to Gordon about this the other day, and he was just saying so many kids get on the team and get satisfied. They get that Nike UIB logo on that jersey, and they think they make it. And they're like, well, I'm going to be the coaches. That's just the first part of it.
Right, just the first part.
Go perform. You still got to put the hours in the gym. You still got to work on your weaknesses and keep developing your strengths.
Right.
It's like they get too complacent, and then you get to the point to where these parents, why ain't my son playing? Why ain't he doing this? Because he don't understand the game. He's so worried about dribbles and all this. He don't understand the basics.
Right.
So it's crazy.
Yeah, I can only imagine. So, what are like some strategic plans that you and your coaching staff have to obviously try to get these kids to understand that the hard work is the most important thing, and more important than the hard work, but being consistently working hard every day, and being focused on improvement instead of being focused on how many likes or views one of your little highlight videos gonna get on YouTube or on your Instagram. And I know it's hard.
It's real hard, man. But for me, I think that once you get the kids once I get the kids in the gym individually to do individual workouts and start working on things, that's when I really could talk to them and see where they at mentally.
Yeah, and get that one-on-one camaraderie going.
Because you got some kids who come in there and they just, you know what I mean, just go to walkthrough. But then you got some kids who come in there and they go 110%. Guys that I see who thrive because understand I got to keep working.
Right. Makes sense. Now that's great, and I know you're gonna keep doing your thing with that.
Absolutely.
So the last question, man. Like I said at the beginning, I call this show the After Effect Podcast. So, us as athletes, we've been athletes our whole life. We go through wins and losses and injuries and joy and courage and pain and sorrow. Just it's so many ebbs and flows with feelings being an athlete. So what would you say all your years of playing basketball, now coaching and paying it forward? What would you say is your after effect and what you learned through basketball that you're like now implementing in your life and your coaching? What would you say some of the things you learned, during your whole journey, athletic journey?
I say, man, discipline, being structured, and then I would say that competitive nature, man. When you get to that Iowa, we were spoiled,
Right.
And they treat you like guys in Iowa. So like when you get to that stage and you see the way everything is, when you come back to reality, you take some of those things with you, like that structure they gave us and how you got to be, how consistent you got to be. You bring that
discipline, that competitiveness, yeah.
And you just use that in everyday life now.
Exactly. And it's crazy that you say like those three components that you said as far as discipline and structure and competitiveness is because when you get out here in the real world and you know whether you work in corporate or you're working as a coach or whatever you're doing, you realize that in the way in which you move is kind of different than just your average person that may have didn't play. Like they don't really have that competitive drive to really go over the top, and you realize that like as an athlete, we have some things just created and embedded in us that other people don't.
One of the biggest things I see now is a lot of people can't handle constructive criticism. I've been cussed out so much now. It's like, all right, it just fires me up when somebody.
Exactly.
I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna do better.
Exactly, because all our whole life we've been able to be coachable, so we understand what constructive criticism is, and don't take it personal. Understand what it truly is.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, bro. Well, that's all I had, man. I appreciate you carving out some time to hop on the pod with me, bro. I know you're a busy man.
No, I mean, I appreciate you, man. I see you doing your thing, so Keep it
Yeah,
up.
yeah, man. Trying to give us a voice, because I feel like it's kind of a hole in the podcast community because I look at your player tribunes and your Bleacher Report and just all these networks uninterrupted, and I've noticed that most of the time the guys hosting or that have the shows are the guys that made it. They made it, and whether they had a 5-6 year career, they retired now. I feel like most of the viewers or consumers are people like us, people that made it big to college, but maybe didn't get a pro opportunity or played in high school, maybe didn't get a college opportunity. So my thing was, when do we get to tell our stories? You know what I mean? So
Right.
that was my point of starting it. And yeah, man, it's been going real good so far. Just wanting to keep learning and growing and things like that. So I appreciate the support.
Absolutely, man. Like they say, man, people need to see the good and bad of college sports, and
Exactly.
it's
And
not
when you
glory for
hear
everybody.
exactly, it's not good for everybody. And I feel like stories like ours will be able to create some perspective.
Yeah,
Perspective
100%.
for the whole world and for the athletes coming up, so they know that hey, it's not gonna always be peaches and good times. You're gonna have to go through some turbulence and some roadblocks and some
Yep,
losses. You're gonna have to go through that too.
for real. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
man. Yeah, man. So I appreciate you coming on, bro. Stay safe. I know it's been a weird 2020. we never went through
Man, it's been
anything like
wild.
this.
It's been
Yeah, I know.
wild.
Yeah. So stay safe, man. I wish you and your family the best of luck. Stay healthy. And yeah, man, we'll talk down the road.
All right, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man.
Take it easy.
Talk soon.